Hello friends, welcome to my channel and explore the world of Microsoft Azure. My name is Rajneesh Kaushik and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, consultant and an enterprise architect. For more latest videos and blogs, you can always log into my website rajneeshkaushik.com and subscribe to my blog. Please do not forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss the latest videos. Do like, share and comment.
Today's topic is how to build Databricks Delta Live Tables in 3 easy steps. This is a part 2 of the series of videos for Delta Live Tables. The part 1 was building reliable data processing pipelines with Databricks Delta Live Tables, and the second part is this video. So let's get started. In this video, we are going to showcase a demo for Delta Live Table, and let's see what this demo contains. So in this demo use case, we are going to have two different data sets, customer data sets and sales order data set. Sales order data set is a JSON file and customer data set is a CSV file. We are going to create a Delta Live table pipeline which will clean this data and produce two different data sets. Uh, the first data set will be how many sales orders were placed in LA, and then the second data set will be how many orders are placed in Chicago. So this is a Chicago and this is a LA data set. Apart from that, we are going to showcase you the events. How do we implement the events in logging events in the Delta Live tables? Okay, so for the purpose of this demo, I have created a Delta Live cluster. You can name this cluster anything, but I have created this Delta Live cluster. And how do I create a Delta Live table? Uh, for Delta Live table, I need to come here and then in the workflows, come here Delta Live table and create a pipeline. So once you create a pipeline, it will show you these things like which product edition you want to use, pipeline name, notebook library name, which notebook you are going to use as a part of this um, Delta Live table, and then add configuration with key value pairs, and then the storage location, where storage location means that in the cloud storage where the metadata will be stored. If it is a DBFS, that means the Databricks file system, then it will automatically create it. If you keep it blank, then it will automatically create it. Then it will also ask that pipeline modes. So pipeline modes we already discussed in the earlier session, triggered and continuous. And then it will ask you also the cluster minimum workers and maximum workers. So you can select that this particular pipeline require how many workers minimum and maximum so that it can use it. And you can also use photon acceleration if you want to use photon accelerator for this, but it is in preview. Apart from that, it will also give you how many dbus per hour is going to spend. So with this, you can create a pipeline. So let me show you what kind of pipeline I have created here. This is my pipeline, and this is my setting looks like. I'm using advanced product edition, and this is my library, retail sales library. And this is I have kept blank, so it automatically created this DBFS pipeline slash the unique ID. And then here, if you see, I have created a trigger. That means I'm going to trigger it and then auto scale it. Minimum and maximum workers are 1 and 2 and saved it. So this is how I have created this pipeline. So now let's understand the code of this pipeline. So this is the code of the pipeline, and let's understand it step by step. So first I have created an incremental live table called customer. So difference is that whenever you create a Delta live table, you need to specify the live keyword here. And this is incremental. So incremental live table. So it's incremental. Then second thing you need to provide, if you want to put a comment around this, so you can put these comments. And then you can specify the table properties. So in this case, I am just putting the table properties as a mapping or a raw. So you can say that this is a mapping, first mapping I'm doing. So these are some attributes, table attributes. So you can put any attributes. Like in this example, I have given attributes of mapping, and then the same attribute for the next set of table is bronze, and then same for the next attribute is silver. So you can provide these attributes, and then this is the real part of the query, which will create this customer table. So this customer table will create a select star, that means all the records from the cloud files, and this is a Databricks data set, and this is a CSV file, and this CSV file contains the Databricks datasets with a customer dataset. So this is what it shows. Now there is another table called sales order raw table, and this is a JSON file. Again, we are getting the comments and properties, table properties here, and then this is the actual query. So this query is very simple. It is getting the sales order JSON file, and then it infers the columns. So that is how this live table sales order raw live table is getting created. Then we have another live table called sales order cleaned, and in this we have a constraint called valid order number. It is actually just to maintain the data quality, and this constraint expects that order number should not be null, and if this order number is null, then you drop this particular row where order number is null. So with this option you are actually maintaining the data quality and making sure that the bad data is not inserted into the table. Then this particular table is partitioned by order date, and as usual comments and table properties are written. In the comment you are providing the comment about this table, and the table property you are putting this the tag about this is a silver quality, and then this is the actual select query which is being used. And if you see it clearly, it says that it is taking the data from two tables. First one is this table, and then which is called sales order raw, and if you see the raw table, it is getting this data from stream and then live. So live keyword is used because we already created this sales order raw table. So then next time we can refer it with the live dot sales order raw. And then from the initial part of the select, if you see, these are the fields which is taken from this table, which is sales order cleaned. And in this one, we are doing some casting for the date time, and similarly we are doing the casting for the again for the another column, and then we are selecting these columns like order number, product, state, city, and unit purchase, latitude, longitude, and loyalty segment, and then we are joining it with the live sales order raw live table. And these are the join conditions on the customers.c. Customers is alias as C, and the C dot customer ID is app dot customer ID, and F is for the live table. So app dot customer ID should be equal, customer name should be equal. So with this we created a sales order cleaned, and then there is a next one, the last table, which is sales order in Chicago, and similarly we have another one, sales order in LA. So sales order in LA and sales order in Chicago. So sales order in LA, again it has this table property called gold. So because these two tables are gold, Chicago and LA. So in the LA table we are not doing anything extra. We are just getting the data for the Los Angeles with the where condition. And this is actually getting this data from this live table, clean table, where the city is Los Angeles. And if you see this again live, so this live table is already exists. That's why it is using the live keyword to access it. And then on the top of it, it is doing this aggregation with sum of pricing, sum of quantity, count of products, is a product count, and all this is getting it from the live table. Similarly, we are doing the same thing for Chicago. The only change in this is that we are getting the city of Chicago, and then obviously the group by condition is also there. So it is grouping this based on the customer order date and customer ID, customer name, and product wise. So with this, we created a Delta Live table logic in the notebook, and then this um, table is getting executed. So in order to execute it, you will come here and then go to Delta Live table, and then just start it. The moment you start it, it will execute this table and it will create the records. So let's get started. Once it's started, you will be able to see it. This particular option, creating updates, waiting, and these are the steps it is getting executed for this Delta Live table pipeline to execute. Okay, so with this, we could run this pipeline. And after the pipeline is successfully run, it shows you all these details that it is showing you in the DAG representation. And it also shows you the whole history, how it was, what are the events fired and when it was fired. So it is showing you all these details here. Apart from that, it is very easy for a person to understand the pipeline, how this pipeline is getting executed, because it shows you a DAG, right? That this particular table was as an initial part, then this was the table created as a part of the processing, and then finally these two tables are a gold table which is getting created as a outcome of this processing cycle. So it shows you very clearly this one. Now let's test it whether this particular pipeline really created these tables, and how do we test that whether these table exist or not. So for this testing purpose, I have created another notebook, and this is the notebook how it looks like. So let me show you this notebook, and we will test our data here. So first we are going to test whether the data from the customer table exists or not. So I'm going to run this pipeline, and it's going to run and see whether this data exists in the customers table or not. So yes, it shows the data is there in the customers table. So it shows you this data. Similarly, if we want to see sales order raw data table, so that table also, if we select star, and then you will see this table here. So this clearly shows it that the data exists and it is getting access with this query. So that means now you can use any application queries to fire on these tables, because now we have the data already there. Similarly, for the cleaned table, we have this data. So this is a cleaned table. Now we also want to see the gold table for Chicago. Yes, it shows the Chicago data. If you see, the city is Chicago, and same is applicable for the LA table where the data is for LA. So that means that this data is there and it is the query is executed successfully. Now let's see our data set. Because this data set is created in the DBFS, so these are the tables which is getting created as a when we executed it. So if you see this table, customer table, sales order in Chicago, sales order in LA, and all these tables, sales order cleaned and sales order raw. So if you want to see this, it will show you this whole table along with this schema. So that shows that this particular data is there. Okay, so now let's understand how Delta Live tables events are saved and stored and where it is stored. So if you see that we have not defined any storage location while creating the pipeline. So in that case, the Delta Live will store this in the pipeline/pipeline and the pipeline ID. And inside this, it is going to store the system/events where all the pipeline events will be stored. So if you see this, this is where the pipeline events are stored. So we will use the basic Python code to get the event log, and this is a path of the event, and we are going to load it in the delta format, and then we are going to create a temporary view on that. So this is a temporary view. Now if we created temporary view, you can access this view by the select star from DLT event. So this is how these events are shown. So now you have all the data pertaining to the events. Now it is just a matter of changing the queries and filter it based on your need. Okay, so this provides you huge flexibility. So now let's see how it goes. So we want to now go inside it and see the flow progress. So if you see here, right, In this, you will find that multiple fields are there: flow ID, flow information. So we can, get the details. Okay, and in that details from the Delta Live table, we can go further and see where the event type is flow progress. So all these events and their details. So detail means we are getting into these details, this column, and this column we will go inside and find out uh, where this particular event type is flow progress. That means we want to see the progress. So once we do this query, then it will show you the details and where the event type is progress, flow progress. So this is going to be used to find out how the flow is progressing. Then we can go further with another set of queries where we want to say that event type is flow progress and events are completed. So all the completed events where the flow is progressing. So this is how it will show you the data for this. So this is just a simple where clause. And then the next step would be, how do we filter the output rows and drop record from the event? So suppose again we loaded the same data in the delta format, and then we want to filter the output rows and drop record for the events. So for this we have created a select expression. Select expression, you can create a select expression or you can create a select query, both are same. So here we are selecting all these values, and if you see it clearly, that means apart from these initial columns, you are going to get all the remaining columns. And then the filter condition we are going to use is flow progress and details. In the detail flow, in the details column, the flow progress data should be completed. And when we created this in a data frame, history data frame, and then we display the history data frame. So once you display the history data frame, it is going to show you all the details: ID, timestamp, flow name, number of output rows, dropped record ID. And so all these values which is coming here, if you see ID, timestamp, or flow name, apart from that, all the remaining fields after the dropped records. So dropped records. So if you see here, it is all the fields, showing you at the end. And drop record means how many records are dropped when this query, the Delta Live table ran, and why it is dropped because of the quality issues, right? The primary key was null, right? If you see, we have a constraint, right, where customer ID is null, so we can drop it. So the same thing. Now another thing we can also do, there is this star we can remove, so that if you remember here we have put star to add all the fields, but now we have removed the star so that we can only get the important fields, whatever we are looking for. So you can add all these fields by removing the stars here. So if you see the star, after removing the star, it only gives you this set of fields. So number of output rows were this many rows for the sales order table. Drop records were 0. Similarly, for other tables, it will show you the output rows and then drop records. So in this case, there is no dropped records for any of these tables. These are the table names, if you see. And these are the pipeline ID and the timestamp when the pipeline ran. So it is showing you this for today's pipeline. These are the dates. And there is these dropped records and output rows. Okay, so now as a next step, we want to find the dropped record and expectations for the pipeline. How many expectations were there for the pipeline? So again, it is same thing. We are going to load the data into delta table. We are going to put the expressions here, and then we are going to put the data quality dot expectations. This is extra field. So in the details column itself, there is a flow progress dot data quality dot expectation. These are the nested things. So we can get it, and here it is showing you all the nested the expectations. So if you remember this valid sales order number, that was one of the expectations, and how many failed records? Past records are 4083, failed records are 0. Similarly, for this run, if you see, again, this similar kind of, this time it did not run because it already ran there. So if you run it multiple times, it's not going to run it again. So this is a good part of it. So this time it shows you all the expectations. It's very easy. See, you just have to go inside that element and then select that element. So all these elements are a part of flow progress element. So flow progress matrix dot number of output record rows, then again flow progress data quality, dropped records, and flow progress data quality expectations. So it provides you all that internal columns. Now we want to filter for each expectations number of records passed and failed. So for this one again we created a delta table from the events, and then this time we are filtering for each expectations where number of record passed and failed. So it's showing you for each table number of past records and field records. For this, very easy, we created another data set, and again the expectation we have put, we have created an expectations data frame, and then in the expression we have provided expectations, and the filter condition we provided is that flow progress and status is completed. And then another schema we have created. In the schema, we have created the fields which we require for us to display. So in this case, we have created this ID, name, dataset, past record, and field record. So these are the fields we have created as a struct. Now, in the expectations data frame which we created here, we are actually using this expectation data frame, and then in that we are actually using these columns called expectations, this column, and then we are exploding it, and this explode we are while exploding it we are using this schema which we have created here. So once this JSON explode happens, it's going to get the same schema which is being used here, and it is going to create a data frame for you. So again, this data frame is called expectations data frame, and this time it is getting this select expression to only display those expectation name, dataset, past record. So that means you can select all these columns and then displaying this column here. So again, it is showing you this records with all the ID, name, dataset, past record, and field record. So with this, we have seen that how we can create a delta line table, and how easy it is to create this delta line table and test the results coming from the delta line table. It also shows that how you can customize your code to capture the, extract the events coming from delta line table and showcase it. So in this example, we have, changed the events, like extracted the events and displays it in the set of columns which we are looking for.
Thanks for watching, and do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't